Hey everybody, Aaron here, and welcome to another anime request review. Today, we're looking at the review of Code Geass. And today, my request comes from my friend Sean. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I know he just saw the anime recently. He really loved it despite not really caring for mecha. He doesn't hate mecha, but he doesn't really care for it too much. He loved this show, and he wanted to see my kind of thoughts and my opinions on the show. So, thanks a lot, buddy. I'll try to do you some favors with this when it comes to actually reviewing this as best I can. So, yeah. Code Geass, if you have not been living under an anime rock, as I call it, like the rock of not knowing anything about anime, and that's okay if you're still new to anime world and you don't know what this is, no big deal. It's not a big deal. Like, he just learned about the series recently. But Code Geass was a huge phenomenon in the 2006 period, where when this came out, this was huge. I mean, like, I kid you not, guys. Everyone loved the show. Like, anyone who saw this, even if you didn't really like mecha, or if you didn't like certain concepts of like political power struggle anime type of stuff like that, you love this show. And here's the reason why. This show is phenomenal. It is one of the best anime probably to ever be made. It was in my top 50 because honestly, it deserves to be in the top 50 of anyone's anime list. I think most people, if you really love anime, it's always within the top like hundreds or top 50 of anime all time because it's just one of those type of shows. Now, the main concept of it is we have our character Lelouch Lamperidge, who is a high school student who has his younger sister. His younger sister is mute and blind because of an incident that happened when their mother was killed, and she was traumatized by it. But what we have right here is we have a world that's set with three different alternative powers. You have like the United States power, you have the European power, and the Chinese power. The one that the main setting of this show is the Britannia's power, which is essentially Japan. Now, Lelouch is a student in one of the high esteemed academies of this place, and he goes around thinking, you know what? I wish the world was different. I wish that this country was different. I wish everything was better. And he ends up getting something called the Power of Kings, which allows him to use one eye contact. He's able to look at someone straight up in the eye and control them only once to do whatever he wants them to do. So he can make it happen for a long time. It doesn't have really a time limit, but it has the power to make them do what his beck and call is. So if he wants them to fight for him, he can do that. If he wants them to die for him, he can do that. And as long as he makes that eye contact, he's able to do that. So what he ends up doing when he gets this power and unlocks it, he ends up meeting this other girl named Cece who has like a deeper purpose, but I can't go into too much of her backstory because her purpose is a big of spoiler kind of if you know too much about her story. What he ends up doing is he ends up becoming this masked character known as Zero, whose main focus is to change the world. He's going to change, at least first, how Britannia is run. He's going to bring it back to what he essentially calls the older version of Japan, Nippon, which is really what Japan's called, but a lot of people don't realize that it's actually called Nippon, but people always call it Japan because it's a little easier to translate that way. But he's going to turn it back to that kind of concept, and he plans on doing it via his own personal army and people that he's going to control, and ways of him using his political now new power to change the world and change at least Japan first. Now, this show is 50 episodes long, but I'll tell you right now, that could have been easily doubled or tripled, and people wouldn't have cared. This show was great, all 50 episodes. I really never had an issue with any particular episode being weaker or less strong. I mean, like, I watched the show, I think, several years ago, but it's one of those shows that I have such vivid memories of, and such, like, I had, like, of course, like usual when I do these reviews, I did look up some background story just to make sure I have everything back on track of what I remember and what everything is, to put in place. Because I don't want to review something, and I don't think you guys want me to review something that might be older and me be completely wrong with it. I mean, that wouldn't be fair to anyone here. So I did look up a little bit background story, like always, and I looked at little nitpicking parts and all that. But one thing about Code Geass that what amazes me about the show was that even now, I still remember fondly of how great this show was. Lelouch's kind of battles that he has against Suzaku, who's the main, I think it's Suzaku or Suzuki. I can never remember his name. I know it's one of the two. The main battles he has with him, he's the Royal Order Knight who's like trying to stop him, and the political powers and political debates that he has with Zero, this mass figure out of nowhere essentially for everyone. They don't know where he came from, telling people, oh, we're gonna obey my orders because I'm telling you to do this and that. It's amazing. It's a show that on paper doesn't sound that interesting. I mean, political things and concepts in anime in general don't have a lot of followings because they're just usually boring. And it's understandable to a point because, I mean, for example, like Spice and Wolf, I love Spice and Wolf, but there are a lot of people who won't watch Spice and Wolf because it deals with the more kind of political merchant power time period where it's still dealing with economy. And when you hear about that, you're like, that doesn't sound that great. I mean, political economy, stuff like that. Does that sound that great? No. But what's funny about this is that this is not the main focal point of the show, even though it's the main concept of it. The characters are what's really going to steal the show, like Lelouch and CC and stuff like that. His sister Nunnally. All these characters are really going to steal the show by being vibrant characters that all have their purpose in the show. Every side character that you meet in the show has some greater purpose and aspect, which is something rare for anime even nowadays. To have every character have their role, as minute and as big as it is, they have their role and their part that they must play in the story. Now, voice acting wise, Japanese and English dub is phenomenal. I really love the English dub. I mean, Johnny Abash is famous for his Lelouch character, besides Ichigo from Bleach and all that. But he was great in this role. I forgot who Suzaki's voice actor was. I kid you not. Let me actually look it up real fast while I talk to you guys still. But one of the cool things about this show, though, is that no matter what you listen to, if you listen to by the way, his name is Suzaku, so I was right the second time. If you actually watched this show and you watched it either way, Japanese or English, you loved it both ways because it's just something that transcends, I think, both dubs. I think that even if you don't really like dubs, you can actually find appreciation in this dub because, I mean, Yuri Lowenthal as Suzaku, and that's really cool. I mean, you have CC by Kate Higgins and Carriage Stressman as Kalan. You have a lot of these great, and yes, I'm looking up their names in like the actual websites that show names for people, okay? I'm sorry, I had to do it. I forgot who the voice actors were. I should have did that prior to this, but it happens sometimes. But anyways, yeah, the audio for this was amazing. The music was awesome. I love everything about the show. Like, it had some great audio. Like, I love the opening. I love the ending. I love the not in-game. This is not a video game. It's serious music that was presented. It was overall a great concept. Like, I mean, there was nothing flawed about the show. Character design might be the only thing that some people might have issues with the tall, lanky characters, but that's done by Clamp, and Clamp always has done stuff like that. If you've ever seen XX Holic or Cardcaptor Sakura, for example, or Tsubasa, all those shows have kind of tall, lanky characters, and I know it's always kind of been a thing. Oh, Chobit's another one. They've always had that kind of concept with the character designs, and I know people are hit or miss with that. Sometimes they go, I can do without it, I can deal with it. But honestly, I love the way they look, and I think it has no really kind of issue with that if you really see past that. I think this show, animation-wise, even for something that came out in 2006, is something that could hold up even today. It still looks phenomenal. And we're in 2016, so 10 years later. That's how long the show has been around. It still looks incredible. Overall, everything about the show is great. I love the ending of the show. I think that it's always known. It's famous. Don't really look up too much on Code Geass if you actually plan on watching this, because it really does have a lot of spoilers because it is so old that most people have seen it. But I love the ending of the show. I actually really think that the ending was perfect for this type of show. I love the story. I love the plots. I love the various characters that come in. I like Rolo, who's annoying as shit, but curse, by the way. Rolo, who's his brother, who is an evil guy. He comes in and he's pretty messed up. But the various characters that, like I said, are really one of the best parts of the show, and I really have to emphasize that because I think that is what makes Code Geass so great. Overall, A through F, A+. Easy. Not even have to hesitate with it. It's just that good of a show. Story is phenomenal. Voice acting is phenomenal. Music's phenomenal. I mean, I can go on all day about this, but I won't. It's, like I said, it's an old show. There are many ways to find it, to watch it. You're not going to have an issue with that, trust me. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, until our paths crossing in the next review, please like, comment, subscribe. Helps me out a lot. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.